Well, now on Swansea Sound, it's time to welcome my next guest on to Daytime. It is the one and only Darren Hayes. Darren, hello.
Thank you for talking to me and thanks for having me.
Well, welcome to Swansea Sound. Good to have you on. Of course, everybody knows that you were one half of Savage Garden. We'll talk about your new single in just a moment. But let's go back to those days because it obviously was a fantastic period for you. Tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Savage Garden.
You know, we were sort of like a fairy tale beginning. It was incredible because I was somebody who could always sing, wanted to be a singer and performer from the age of 4 or 5. And it was when I was sort of 17 or 18, I started to look at trying to get into bands. And Daniel Jones was in a band that needed a new lead singer. And I auditioned. It was the first audition. Well, it was technically the first. The first audition was for a metal band, so that was never going to work.
Oh, really? No, I couldn't imagine you in one of those.
But I turned up at his house and sang for him, which is quite funny now when I think about that he was auditioning me. But, you know, the band, to cut a long story short, the band was called Red Edge, and it was a covers band, really.
Right.
But we became friends, and from sort of then... that's when we started conspiring to take over the world. So that was, I think by the time we were 23, we had a record deal. And, you know, suddenly, you know, a couple of years later, Billboard #1s, and it was a very meteoric rise once it did start. Yeah.
And as they say, the rest is history, basically, then, Darren?
I guess so. I mean, I turned 40 this year, so... That's great. I'm
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, it's great. I think if you've ever visited a paediatric ward in a hospital, I think you feel very grateful for being here because when you see little lives that never even make it that far, I'm grateful. But I look at my life and 20 years of it I've spent making music, and this is my 6th album. 2 of them were Savage Garden records, 4 of them have been a solo artist, and I still can't believe, you know, I get to do what I love to do for a living. It's been incredible. Well,
you're an amazing singer. That's why it happens. And going back to your debut solo album, Spin, apparently sold about 2 million copies.
Yeah, I mean, I think, oh God, now I'd kill to sell that many records. I mean, no one really even... You know, that's an extraordinary amount of records. But back then, I think the label were terribly disappointed. You know, that I only sold 2. Actually, I think it's more now.
Yeah, I would have thought so by now. I would have thought so.
But at the time, you know, it only did 2 million, and they were terribly disappointed. But I think what's funny for me is that I was probably one of the only people in the whole team back then that thought that was expected. I mean, I never expected to go from this extraordinarily successful, you know, phenomenon, really, which was this pop group. I didn't think I would suddenly it would just continue for me. I think that's quite arrogant, actually. But I just knew I wanted to continue doing it. And I still do. And
I know as a solo artist you have got a massive following, because I know friends of mine, they went down to see you New Year's Eve down in London, the last time you'd played that gig. So if you want to say a big hello to Lynn Powell for me.
Well, Lynn, thank you for coming to my show. Thanks for remembering me. Yes, I have. I'm really lucky. I mean, my audience have been incredibly loyal, and you know, it's funny now because I have to balance. I always play my Savage Garden songs, obviously,
of course,
but I try to balance it out. And sometimes, like my really hardcore solo fans, you know, they don't necessarily want me to play any of the old stuff, and yet somebody who might have just heard, you know, Bloodstained Heart and thinks, oh, I'll buy this Darren Hayes record, or I'll come to the show because I loved Savage Garden. I know they expect to hear some of the songs, so it's quite sweet, actually, trying to balance it out and please everybody, but it's a good problem to have.
Okay, well, we're going to play it for you now, and stay with us. We'll have a quick chat about it in just a moment. This is the brand new single, Bloodstained Heart. There we go, Bloodstained Heart. What a great song from Darren Hayes. Obviously, I must admit that it's a cracking song. It's very you, though, Darren, isn't it, that song?
I think it's emotional. It's funny you say it's very me. A lot of people think it's very Savage Garden. And I think the one thing I've had in common in every record is that I always kind of speak my heart. And I think this is a love song for what it feels like to be my age today. It's a love song that says life isn't always easy. and we're always thrown a curveball. You know, I think one of my favourite ways of looking at life is that if you're here, then you're a survivor, because you know that you're never really given anything that you can't overcome. And this song is about those moments where you're given something in life. It could be you lose your job, or it could be you're facing, you know, a terminal disease. It could be anything that's just tragic, let's face it, that life throws at you. But it's how we overcome. It's how we, you know, find that strength within, or turn to someone you love and say, you know what, I'm going to pick up my bloodstained heart and I'm going to keep going.
The reason I think I probably said that it was very you is because of the passion. I mean, all your songs have got passion in, but certainly in that one there's so much passion coming through with it. And a statement you said that it's one of the most important songs I've ever made. Why did you say that?
I don't think I said ever made. Maybe me. I think I consider it one of my most important songs in terms of a songwriter, for sure, because well, honestly, because it came to me when I needed to hear those words.
Right.
I wrote the song for two reasons. One of them was selfish, because I was feeling beaten in my life for many reasons. But at the same time, a family member, one of my closest friends in the world, essentially, was going through such a hard time, and I was helpless. I couldn't prevent it, and all I could do was just... I couldn't even say it's going to get better, because I didn't even know if it was going to get better. All I could say was, you know what, we've got each other, and we'll get through this somehow, you know. And I don't know, it's one of those songs that I think anyone can relate to that. You know, life is beautiful because it's an adventure, and there's always a curveball. And I think to think of your life as this one long happy road where you're never challenged is a nice dream, but the reality is we all leave this earth a little battle scarred.
Yeah.
And that's what the song's kind of acknowledging, really, yeah.
The thing is, what comes next from Secret Codes and Battleships? Because that song is a cracker from the album, so, you know, where do you go next?
Well, I definitely want to tour the record, so we're about to release some dates. In 2 or 3 weeks. We're touring the UK in September and October, and in other countries as well around the world. We're just putting it together now. So lots of, for me, I think there's probably going to be another couple of singles from the record, and lots more touring. And I honestly don't know. I never know. I kind of put everything I have into an album, and I really hope that folks, you know, relate to it, and that it gets some attention, and then I just sit back and try and plan up another dream. It takes me years, though.
Darren, keep on singing, whatever happens. Lovely to have you on the show. Bloodstained Heart is out this month, and good luck with that on the album and everything else you do.
Oh, bless. Thanks for talking.
Well, now on Swansea Sound, it's time to welcome my next guest.